Hi there, it's Brad again, coming to you with some additional quotes from Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. If you'll recall, last time we talked about fear and faith. Today we're going to hear his thoughts on deity and prayer, which I thought were quite interesting. Also, fun fact about this book, I forgot to mention it last time, this was written in 1938, yet not published until 2011. So, whatever you make of that. So this is a section he titles, An Improved Conception of Deity. I have heard many people speak of a personal God upon whom they believe they could call for help through prayer and receive it. During the early part of my life, when I had less courage to speak what I believed to be truth, I made a pretense of imagining that out there somewhere in the boundless cosmos was a personal God who made it his business to interfere with the petty problems of human beings, and that his decision could be influenced through prayer, and he was an arbitrary being. I never seriously believed that, and I do not believe it now. I have long since discarded even the pretense of belief in such a God, having supplanted it by another which offers the very great advantage of being demonstrably sound and practical. This new belief discards the personal God and substitutes in his place an all-prevailing force, or law, known as infinite intelligence, or the universal mind. My conception of this force is that it permeates every atom of matter and every unit of energy throughout the universe, that it is the form of energy throughout the universe, that it is the form of energy with which people think, that it voluntarily begins at once to help one to transmute into physical reality every thought or prayer which is released in a spirit of absolute faith, and by the most economical and convenient natural media available in each instance. He continues with a section titled My Conception of Prayer. This belief is more acceptable to me than the old orthodox pretense of belief in a personal God, because I have applied it with a provable degree of success. Moreover, it simplifies matter for both the one doing the praying and the source of power to which the prayer is offered, because that power has become part of the mind of the one doing the praying. This conception of prayer relieves God of all the unnecessary, petty annoyances to which he would be subjected if he had to arbitrate the differences which arise between human beings and hear all of their troubles. This belief, even if it be no more than a theory, answers to my own satisfaction the question as to why prayer sometimes works, while on most occasions it does not. A prayer is a released thought, sometimes expressed in audible words, and at other times expressed silently. I have observed by experience that silent prayer is as efficacious as the one which is expressed in words. I have observed also that one's state of mind is the determining factor when prayer works, as well as when it does not. From these observations, not opinions, I have reached the conclusion that the force or power which answers a prayer favorably is exactly the same force or power that converts an acorn into an oak tree, awakens a bird which sleeps in the egg, or develops two tiny cells into that marvelously organized form known as a human being. My conception of the other self, which I have tried to describe, is that it merely symbolizes a newly discovered approach to infinite intelligence, an approach which one may control and direct through the simple process of mixing faith with one's thoughts. This is only another way of saying that I now have a greater faith in the power of prayer than I had when I depended upon a God who was supposed to exist in the form of a person in some distant world of which I knew nothing, because this newer conception of the source from which prayer is answered places it within my own mind, where it remains constantly on duty, ready and willing to do my bidding when I approach it in the language which it understands, which is the language of faith. The gods dwell no longer on high Olympus, but in the minds of man. The state of mind known as faith apparently opens to one the medium of sixth sense through which one may communicate with sources of power and information far surpassing any available through the five physical senses. Wow, this really blew my mind. totally different conception of deity and prayer than I had ever heard before. Hope you'll join me next time, and I'll actually give you a sample of what Hill says is the perfect prayer. Thanks, and be well.